So thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to share, talk. This is kind of like a presentation and I think like a workshop and conversation because I'm sure you have a lot of things, maybe more than me, to say about creativity. I really appreciate that you are all here. I was thinking that maybe we can just say something about yourself, like what do you teach, and maybe something about why you're interested in this topic, or what do you do creative in your life or in your classes. Something little, not too long, but I would love to learn a little bit about you. So I am Pilar. I have been working at SMU for 12 years. I teach Spanish, I teach Latin American literature and culture. Um, I'm very grateful to Adi and the city office for giving me the opportunity to talk about topics that I'm passionate about, but I haven't really talked to faculty or peers about this. So the experience of being a SMU affiliate, like honestly, has been amazing because I can talk about these things that I'm passionate about. And creativity. So I don't know. Maybe a silly thing to say is that since I learned how to write when I was 7, 6, I started writing poems. Like maybe a lot of people do that, but I really think that I still remember. I still have a lot of notebooks, and I fell in love with writing and just I still remember the songs I wrote when I was 7 and 8. So it's, I mean, that's the thing that started with me with writing. Creativity, well, creativity is a lot of things, but I don't want to take too much time. So yeah, just that I'm from Colombia, and that's it. Okay. And Adi, you can please share something with us, please. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm Eddie Tolliver, Associate Director for the Center for Teaching Excellence. And so I feel that I'm very creative. My undergraduate degree was actually in fine arts and graphic design. And in my spare time, I am a painter. I tend to paint acrylic paintings, and I still do graphic design on the side. I think indirectly, I wanted to do the CT passport program to use a little bit of my graphic design skills. So if you've seen your digital passport, I designed that, and it allows me to be creative a little bit on the side. So for me, creativity is really important. Everybody's creative. Every faculty member is creative because we have to figure out, creative ways to assess your students' knowledge and figure out creative ways to have activities in the classroom. So understanding the resources that SMU has to support that creativity is going to be really helpful today. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Raquel, do you
Should I
want to
pick the
share?
next person? I'll pick the next person. Let's do Jerry.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, Jerry is fine. So it's my first year full-time at SMU. I teach an honors writing program. I've been teaching writing at university level since 2017, different capacities. I have a PhD in English literature, focus on like Indian poetry and Indian literature. So creatively, I am a musician, and it's kind of a big part of me. So I'm actually organizing an honors music night, which will happen next week in the Scholars Den, with honors students performing. Um, but in the classroom, in writing classroom, I like to, give the students at least exposure to creative writing. At least in one part of the writing process, at least engage in that side of them that maybe they'd like to develop more, or maybe they've never really had a chance to do it, and just at least have them have exposure to some creative elements to writing. So it's not all just, research, right? So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, all. I'm Theodore Walker. I teach theology at the Perkins School of Theology. if you are interested in theory of creativity, pay attention to the work of Alfred North Whitehead. According to Whitehead, creativity is the universal of universals. That is, it is universal. To be anything actual at all is to be creative in some way or another. I hope you will be able to teach me a little about creative pedagogy inside Canvas, just because we use a lot of Canvas at SMU. And to me, Canvas feels clunky and not creative. And I hope I'm wrong about that.
Thank you. And Raquel?
Okay. How do I, there we are. Did I
Yeah.
do it? Okay. So I'm R. Flowers Rivera, or Raquel. I'm originally from Gulfport, Mississippi. I now live in downtown Dallas, over near Dallas Farmers Market. I have a PhD in English. My foci were FM Lit, or contemporary FM Lit, contemporary Southern novelists, and creative writing. I have 2 poetry collections, but I formally see myself primarily as an educator, teacher slash facilitator, and I'm always looking for creative ways to get students beyond their need for perfection because they've become so attached to grades. So I want them to take risks, whether it's playing with digital humanities and literature tools or growing a sunflower. It's the entire gamut.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. When I hear that, I want to share so many things because to be completely honest and open with you, the word creativity in my life is related to, it goes beyond academics and is related to spirituality and is related to philosophy and is related to who we are in life. So actually, but I'm not going to talk about that, but I'm passionate about that topic and different realms like philosophy, spirituality, and yeah. So, but I'm not going to go that route. But I want to say that I taught myself how to play the ukuleles, and I talk about that in 2020. So that's something creative I start doing. So I love music, but I'm a beginner. I am I'm a faculty in residence at Cockrell Mackintosh, and this Sunday I'm organizing a arts and music festival. So your students, Jerry, from honors, if maybe any student wanna come this Sunday at 6 p.m. to perform, it's a talent show, is open. So these are the ways I introduce creativity also in my role as a faculty in residence. And I'm organizing an event on October 16 called Artistic Laboratory Mind, Body, and Heart Connection, and that is related to mental health and well-being in the Meadows Museum. So just want to share that because I want to show you how passionate about this, and I'm not an expert. I hope I can maybe give you some ideas about how to use Canvas. It's not my expertise, but I'm going to share with you what I do, and I'm sure you have a lot of things to tell me about what you do. So let's see. Do you have paper? Can you get a paper and pencil? And if it's pencil, it's better. I think it gives a different message to our brains that it's okay to mess up instead of using a pen. So if you have a pencil, better. So take a piece of paper and take a pencil. And I want, hey, So the first thing I want to do is to share. Okay. I want to share. How do I share a Word document that I have here? Okay, maybe I just copy pasted in the
You want to
chat.
send it in the chat? You can go into the
Yeah.
chat, and at the very bottom, there's a little page icon for file. And you select that, you should be able to send that and attach the message to everybody.
Yeah. Okay, where's the chat? I remember
At the
Zoom.
very bottom, you should
Oh,
be able to
yeah.
see here.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
gonna say hello, and the color will blink for you.
Can
Well, there it
you
is.
let's have
We'll see.
2 minutes to answer those questions. Before I start talking, I want you to just get in there and write in a paper the answers to these questions. And of course, you don't have a lot of time to reflect on it, but just write whatever comes to your mind. So 1 more minute. Just throw there some ideas that comes to your mind, because we want to see the transformation. Oh. Okay. Okay, you have some ideas there, some words, some ideas. Okay, the next thing I want to do, and I want to thank, I'm attending some of the lectures of my friend Willie Baronet. He's a faculty in residence, and he teaches in advertising. I think he teaches a class called creativity. So it has been very interesting. It's such a different field from mine, and he has a different way of teaching. And so I want to say thank you to him, because I got this idea from him. So before I start talking, okay, you have your ideas there. Then in the same paper, I want you to take the pencil with your non-dominant hand. Take the pencil with your non-dominant hand and draw whatever you had for breakfast, or whatever you would love to have for breakfast. If you didn't have a breakfast this morning, draw whatever you would love to have for breakfast, or what you had for breakfast with your non-dominant hand. Okay, great. You maybe I should do the same, right? Okay. Can you show everybody? So terrible. It's like, okay, you guys did a better job. So,
It's like peanut butter and honey.
oh, awesome. Okay. So, uh, you're using your non-dominant hand. I saw how 100 students did this, and first of all, it breaks the ice, and it makes you laugh, and it makes you use a different, completely different part of what your brain does all the time, and it challenged you. And I was fascinated by this exercise because then the students reflect on it, and there was something fascinating. So I think one of the things that kills creativity is fear, because we believe we need to be perfect and we believe we need to do things right. Uh, so when the students use, or you use, the non-dominant hand, we're trying to do our best, but everybody knows we're gonna mess up. So it's okay because we're not using our dominant hand. So in some ways, it makes you reflect about the importance of getting rid of fear and taking risk. And so that exercise was, for a lot of reasons, fascinating. So I wanted to do it. And one more exercise I want to do with you guys. I want to check if you can hear. Can you hear that music? Can you hear the music?
No.
Can you hear the music? Okay.
One thing that
Okay.
you can do, if you, are you playing off of your computer?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can try to, is it like a website? Because you can go and share your screen into whatever that is being used to play the song, and then click on when you share the screen to include audio, and we'll be able to listen to what it is. Or share sound.
Mm. Oh, good with that.
So if we do share screen, select whatever you're using to do the audio, and then share sound on the right side, we'll be able to listen to
Oh,
whatever
okay.
you're showing. There you go. Now we should play and we should be able to hear.
So I want you to close your eyes. Can you close your eyes?
Yes.
You don't hear it? Oh, you're mute.
When you click to share the screen, there should be a button on the right side that says share sound. You need to check that button to share the sound.
Oh, oh, okay. Well,
Let's try that. If you click to share sound, let's here.
okay, it's fine. I don't want to take too much time of it.
Because I found the video. Let me try to see if I can do it for you.
It's it's okay if it doesn't work. Um, so
Here, I have the video if you want to.
okay, let's do it. Let's see if it works.
Let's try. Can you guys hear?
We don't hear. I don't hear. Okay.
Raquel says this.
Um, well, I think it's okay.
Okay.
I wanted to do so. We have some literature people here. You know about the exercise, the exquisite corpse, right? Where you collaborate and write a poem. So my purpose was to hear this song. Do you all hear me? Okay. Okay. Do you all hear me? Okay. So the purpose was to hear this song from Kamasi, Washington, that is Claire de Lune, and then it changes into an amazing jazz classical song. And then we all write something that, like, we all write two sentences, we put it together, and it's a poem at the end. That I don't want it to take too much time, but you can do that. And you know how that works. We can do collaborative writing. And I'm sure Raquel and Jerry knows more about this than me. But it's a way to show how, like, images, music can, we can collaborate doing a poem. You know, I want to share something amazing. I did this with my students. I put this song, and then they close their eyes, then they open their eyes, and they start writing. I told them, just write one sentence about what you heard. And then everybody wrote the sentence. We passed the paper. I opened the paper and I read the poem, and every single sentence was about life and the importance of value life. And nobody knew what anybody wrote. So it was like magic. It was really, really amazing, like what mind can do. And okay, so that's what I wanted to do, those two things. I also want to say that creativity, so I'm passionate about creativity, music, well-being, and community engagement. So it was hard for me to just talk about being creative here. So because everything for me is connected, all those things I'm passionate about. So I'm gonna share. I need to share this my presentation here. Okay. I'm in Canva. Let's do. Okay. So you see. Did you all see it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I want to share something that I was very surprised about. And I couldn't find this, and I wanted to find the exact exercise, the exact training. We had a training at SMU like a few years ago, and I couldn't find it, but I'm sure there was this experiment where they told the students, they told a professor to get in a classroom, and all the students were the best students. So he or she she was teaching a class, he or she was teaching a class, the professor, and then the professor went to another class where they told him that's the class where the worst students are. So actually the best students were the worst, and the worst students were the best. So what happened was that the students that were supposedly really bad did amazingly well in this experiment. At the end, what it shows is that what this experiment kind of shows is that our expectations are very, very important when you get into the classroom. We all have our views or our judgments, or we're human, right? But how important it is how you get into the classroom. And I think when we talk about creativity, and I researched the origin of the word is creare, Latin to produce. When we want to produce something new with the students, it's important to realize where are we emotionally or mentally when we get into the classroom, and how important it is when we get into the classroom. What can we produce when we get there? Okay, so well, this is something curious about. I'm not an expert at all about quantum mechanics and how all this talk about how the observer affects what is like the experiment. We grew up learning that the experiment has nothing to do with the person that is seeing what is going on, right? But now we discover through quantum mechanics that actually what we see, um, the observer affects reality. I know it's a stretch, like I'm stretching the argument, but I just love the idea of connecting these discoveries in science with what we do in our everyday life. So what I'm saying here, the perception of the student is a creator, and the professor is a creator, and this I want the student to own its learning and to be empowered, and creativity is a way, like giving them the chance to create something is a way to empower them. And we are creators, as Theodore said, like the moment we wake up, we're creating everything, every single second. So perception of the student as a creators, and the class is a space to create. So the class is and we perceive the student as a creator. If we perceive the student as a creator, the dynamic of the class changes. So I want to share some of the things I do. Um, so in my first talk in January for the spring kickoff, I talk about it, and we did with the faculty a minute of peace. I think this kind of activities change the pace, like a moment to reflect, to work on your breathing, just a minute is something you can do or not, but it really changed the dynamic. It can be more playful, like the activity of drawing something with your non-dominant hand. Maybe something related to your field, like a concept or an object. I want to share something about the mandalas. I'm so again, creativity is everything we do in the classroom, but I'm talking about some specific activities that you can do, and some resources that SMU has that we can that we can use in our classroom. So I want to share that. You know what is a mandala, of course, right? Coloring. Um, so Adi, you're freeze. Are you? Is everything good? Okay. No, I think. So the mandala, you color. So this happened to me. I have never done this, but I thought, okay, I'm gonna give them mandalas. So something to call and some colors, and they were all surprised. So I was teaching a grammar point that was really kind of easy because they already knew said the difference between ser and estar. So it was a refresh, like a review of something they already kind of knew. So I didn't choose a topic that was too hard, but I did an experiment. So I told them I taught my lecture. I talked about the topic, but they were all drawing. They were all coloring. And I told them, okay, I'm gonna talk here. You just color, and you don't have to even pay attention. And they were like, what? No, yeah, you just color. The incredible thing is that I really believe that that was the class where everybody paid more attention ever. I saw, and I'm sure there's brain waves that change completely. They're like their body was different. The way they were like coloring and looking at me and coloring and like really paying attention, even though I so I'm sure there's a lot of scientific things we can say about this, and but really like that activity uh, shows me like the power of the brain and how we when we do things differently, the learning process like really changes also, and gets better in my experience with this little activity I did. So I want to talk about the SMU Hegi family career. That's something. So this is something. This is a resource that we have at SMU. How do I use this? Um, I invite somebody from the office to speak in Spanish about strategies to get a job and how to present yourself and how to. So my field is Spanish, but um, like teaching language, culture, literature. In your own fields, you can think about ways how to use these resources that we have and people that are really doing interesting things. For example, the SMU Family Career has several people working in different areas, how to write a letter, how to present yourself, how to dress, or how to, like, very academic stuff and very basic things they need to know for to get a job. And but they have an expertise that I don't have, and I use that in my class, and they are so open and so happy to share their knowledge. So I don't know how in your own classes that can be useful, but the maybe there is a way to do a writing exercise, like for example, Raquel and Jerry, I don't know, related to this, and these people can support you. But just for you to know that that's a resource that. The I love to talk about this. The Deason Innovation Gym. I like how they say they have a saying, is the only gym where I go, the Deason Innovation Gym. um, because it's a wonderful place. Do you know who knows this place? Like everybody knows what I'm talking about? Only Adi? The Nobody else knows about this? Uh, okay, so I want to share um, um, how do I find the website? Um, okay, oh, okay. Um, oh, maybe here. Okay, I got it. So do you see here? I have my box, and so we went to the Deason Innovation Gym, and my students, using what they have there, is a place where they can learn about. There are workshops for electronics, 3D printer. They can learn how to sew and use the sewing machines. They can create anything with all the they have thousands of things they can use to create something. We as faculty and staff, we can even create a prototype of something, of like anything, maybe a toy or a notebook or a machine. We can actually have that chance to create anything, but I use it very like informally. I want them to practice vocabulary. So the students, do you see the pictures now? Okay, let me see. Did you see? Yeah. Okay, I just want to be sure that you're seeing that. So mm, they they create different objects with all the resources that they have there, um, based on the vocabulary that they had to study. Um, and it was fascinating, like to go to a different class, a different space that is not the classroom, to work on the vocabulary. I had a contest. The best one will get a prize. To collaborative, it creates a sense of community that it was awesome. Um, they were using a lot of materials and machines that they didn't know. Um, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and it's an incredible place. Um, so I wanted to show you the maybe. mm, Okay, let me see. Are you okay? mm, Are you seeing the website? I'm just opening the website. Okay. Just want to confirm that everybody sees what I'm saying. Okay, so this is the website. So you can schedule a workshop with them. You can bring your students and tell people over there. They are very helpful. They are very knowledgeable. And there's like tons of workshops that are great. But besides that, you can plan a project and just take your students there and tell them that you're doing that. Um, like using there is a metal workshop, there's a wood workshop, there's an electronics workshop, there's a sewing workshop, there's a lot of 3D printers, and the students do things like I remember a student from engineering that was doing a wheelchair that will be better than regular wheelchairs, and I was amazing to see. So students are doing incredible stuff. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, so going on. Um, so mm, so something I wanna share. Okay, no. Exchange with, so something else I do is my students have conversations with students from Mexico every single week so they can practice their Spanish. So interactions like that for your classes, in this case it's not language probably, but maybe interactions that's very interesting, that they can have interactions with people, students, professors. I have it in the case myself. I have it's a language class, so it makes sense for them to talk in Spanish with somebody from another university. There's a project Olas is a project. There are some moms from Guatemala that work with my students and talk to them in Spanish. And there's a community engagement component there. They are low-income families, and there's an NGO that a student from Georgetown created, and it's beautiful. The project is beautiful, and so there's and I think again, that kind of activities have been very successful in my class. Has a community engagement component, has a creativity component, but I don't know if it fits what you do. But I just wanted to share the Hunt Institute. Do you know about the Hunt Institute? They do engineering. They work with engineer students, but they are open to work with anybody. It's about engineering, and I'm not going to explain it very well, but it's related to eco-friendly projects, and they're working in Colombia, they're working in Tanzania, they're working all over the world with different projects doing great things. So that's another institute to explore, just to know what they're doing. And they have a beautiful office. It's like full of light and it's very eco-friendly. So I recommend you to visit that in the engineer. Um, oh, okay. So they create, okay, so also for purpose of language, I make them draw whatever they're doing, whatever concept or specific words. They I give them a piece of paper and they draws. They make a drawing, and then we learn through their drawing whatever concept we're working on. So it's like they are producing the material we're using in class. So something like that can work for you if you think about anything that they can produce in class or be outside of class that can become material, like class material that you can use for your classes, and they will be so proud, like, oh, I did that, and now the professor is using it for us to review this concept or this idea. So it sounds silly, but it really changed the dynamic where like they're producing something that helps. Okay, there's another thing that I did was I created a journal where students produce poems or whatever they do. They can publish. We can publish that in that journal in Spanish. But it's something I'm sharing, like um, because I think it's very um, rewarding to know that maybe if I do something really good, that can be this. There's a possibility for me to share it in the website in a website. So the ukuleles, I also it's a way to be creative. I already talked about this in my last presentation, but
We're not hearing the audio, but we can see the
can you hear it now? Some of you?
same thing, like when there's audio, when you click to share the screen, you have to do to share sound.
Hear sound. Oh, okay. But I can send it to you. Okay. But the point is that it was just one class, and they were able to produce to we learned the conjugation of the verbs, and so music. Just that I want to say that, for example, Jerry was mentioning that he's a musician, and um, it's awesome that you can introduce that and use that in your classes, because that like really light up like the creativity that you can have, like music in different ways. um okay, so these are my thoughts about creativity, but we don't have too much time, but I really want to have a conversation, or anything that you want to share. And I want you to go through your answers also from the beginning of this lecture and reflect on your answers. Maybe you have more ideas now for ways to be creative. Yes, yeah, Jerry, do you want to say something?
Oh, so when you mentioned about the coloring the mandala, um, I was reminded of last semester, we gave the final exam as a written essay, like handwritten essay, not on the computer, so no screens were allowed. Um, so I really noticed something kind of like what you were talking about, this kind of engagement that actually was happening when they were actually handwriting, um, it looks to be a deeper kind of engagement with the writing than just kind of typing on a computer screen. Some an art that seems to be kind of getting lost, something it seemed to me something much more personal, um, and a kind of personal involvement with writing when they're actually handwriting the essays. So that's something that I was reminded of when you mentioned about when they were coloring the mandalas, they had this kind of like they were just seemed more engaged with you. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, there's a connection between the brain and the hand and producing something that is, when we are in academia, it's different than when you are in the computer putting your ideas together. I want to mention something because a student of mine made a presentation about between the relation between nature and well-being, and she found some information about the importance of being in nature. And your comment, Jerry, makes me think about times where I have taken the students outside of the classroom when the weather was nice. And again, it's something very basic, but it changed completely. We have such a beautiful campus, and just being surrounded by nature and trees, like is important. It's really, wow, it changed the dynamic. And maybe writing by handwriting and being outside can be a totally different game than being in the classroom with a computer. So maybe you can play with that also, changing the space, having a class outside, having a class in the Deason Innovation Gym. Um, yeah. So, but thank you for sure. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Rachel, you have comments, but I don't hear you. Oh, I don't hear you.
A couple of things that I do in the classroom. So one, vibing off the mandala idea and the idea of connecting ideas to creativity, beyond the insights and reflections and journals that they write, they also have to keep an idea notebook. So it can be as fancy or as plain and basic as they want, even like a journalism little flip pad. But they have to fill 20 pages of it with material. It can be to-do list, it can be fragments of conversation, it can be poems, it can be brainstorming for assignments, it can be anything. But something about the process, once again, of writing it allows them to stay fixated longer and produce more focused material. So it's been an interesting switch for some of them. Some of them now use the notebook for everything. Like they keep everything in that notebook and they just flip through and mark tabs for their
Mm,
life.
that's amazing. There's journaling is something like we can find thousands of people doing research about how important it is for psychotherapy or just for feeling better, just to put your ideas together, or just to work on yourself and your emotions, or just to plan things. But just the journaling is very, very important. And we can use it no matter what field we are or what we're teaching. I think that's so great to have some kind of notebook where you put your ideas. And something else that makes me think what you're saying is connected and not connected. How about assessing? Like the exercise that I did with you at the beginning is for you to assess yourself at the end of this workshop. Maybe you are gonna say, "No, I didn't learn anything," or maybe, "Oh, this makes me think about this and this and this. Maybe I can do this." So when they are journaling, is I think it's very crucial. I have learned recently maybe students can ask themselves, how am I feeling right now? Okay, I'm feeling this. Then after writing whatever they want to write, assess how you're feeling. And the emotion is completely different. So again, well-being is so important to me, and I think we can connect it to creativity. And just for you to realize how powerful it is, some practices like journaling, like mandalas, like how about we ask the students before starting the exercise of the mandalas or coloring or anything like that, how are you feeling right now? And just they can write down how are you feeling. And then afterward, like write down how are you feeling. It's like really incredible like to see the transformation after doing something that you were not expecting that you would change like that. So yeah, thank you. The other, I don't know if I answered your question about Canvas. I'm sorry, um, but I don't know if you want to share something with us.
Um, the very next time I show up for an in-person class, I will be carrying paper and flare pens. And I will invite students to doodle while I lecture.
I love it. Yes.
I thank you for inspiring that thought. I am fully confident that it will work.
Thank
And,
you.
and part of my confidence comes from being an old man, being old enough to remember when everybody worked from ink on paper 100% of the time. And I can remember that many of us, when we were intensely concentrating on what was being said, would doodle in the margins. And so we are resurrecting the practice of doodling for the sake of paying attention. And thank you, thank you, thank you. That one thought alone was worth the price of admission.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can I ask Lacavia if she has any comments? Lacavia Taylor Holman? I don't know if she's available. I just want her to have a voice if she wants to share something.
Yes, thank you for the offering. No, a lot of the activities are speaking to me also to being in the counseling department. And so some of the things I incorporate, but I'm also thinking of some new twists based on things that were shared here. So I appreciate that. It's reigniting that I need to do some of the things I have, normally do, but sometimes you get caught in the content. So I need to slow down and incorporate some more creativity. So thank you for the inspiration.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for saying that. And it opens the heart. I want to be honest, and I think the creativity and emphasizing this opens the heart. And when the heart is open, the learning, the learning happens. I I think. So going beyond the mental, intellectual, and touching other stuff because we are human beings, very complex. So we have to use all our senses. Last class, I told them I brought I brought something to smell, something to touch, and I told them to close their eyes, something to sense, something to touch, something to see, something to hear. And we played with it for a few minutes, and it was very interesting. So you can think about five senses and how to use them, or six senses. Thank you so much, Adi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pilar. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
loved it.
I'm so happy you came. Thank you, Gerald. Honors Music Night, Thursday, April. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Have a good day. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.